You think once someone's arrested, that's the end of the story? Nah, not in this case, not this Chicago nightmare. The handcuffs might have been on, but the real darkness? That was just starting to settle in. See, prison didn't break. Rick Miller. Not in the way you might expect. He wasn't crying in his cell or begging for forgiveness. He just got quieter. Way quieter. It was like the spark went out behind his eyes, leaving this cold, empty stare. Colder than a Chicago winter wind off the lake. Every time the guards made their rounds, walking that long, echoing corridor, they'd see him. Always the same. Sitting on the edge of that thin, uncomfortable-looking bed, just staring at the concrete wall. Like he could see something we couldn't. Didn't eat much of that slop they called food. Didn't seem to sleep either. Just sat there, lost in his own messed up head. Didn't speak to anyone. Not the guards, not the other inmates. Kept his mouth shut tight, unless it was to himself. And if you listened real close, late at night, when the prison was quiet enough to hear a pin drop, they say he kept whispering, just under his breath. "She came back. She knows what I did." Over and over, gave the night shift guards the serious creeps. Meanwhile, Karen was in another facility, trying to play the poor, innocent victim. You know the routine, telling the prison therapist some sob story about how she was forced to help Rick, how she was scared of what he'd do to her if she didn't go along with his twisted plan, trying to paint herself as a damsel in distress. But then they found her journal. Oh, karma's a sneaky thing. She didn't know that those sharp investigators had quietly copied every single page of that thing from her storage unit before they even slapped the cuffs on her. Smart move on their part. Inside? That innocent act was pure garbage. She called Sarah a parasite. Bitter as hell, like she was jealous of Sarah for, what? Being wanted by Rick? Wrote stuff like Rick was finally happy. She ruined that. So much for being the scared, unwilling accomplice. That journal showed her true colors. And Mike? Man, Mike was never the same again. You could see it in his eyes. That light had gone out. He packed up everything, left the city that held so many bad memories. Got a job as a mechanic way out in the suburbs, somewhere near Joliet. Quiet, out-of-the-way place. Lived alone in a small, bare apartment above the garage. Kept to himself, mostly. Didn't talk much to the other guys at the shop. Avoided eye contact. Didn't make friends with the neighbors. Didn't even think about dating again. His heart? Shattered into a million pieces. But people who met him, out there, the few he'd nod to, they said he gave off this vibe, like he was carrying a heavy weight, like something was chasing him, even if you couldn't see it. Haunted. That's the word they used. One of the other mechanics said he swore he heard Mike yelling in his garage late one night. Real frantic, almost a scream. "Get out of my house, Sarah," he heard him shout. Said he checked, but there was no one else in that dusty garage with him. Just Mike, yelling at thin air. Then, 3 years after Sarah's death, something really damn weird happened. The kind of thing that makes you wonder if there's more to this world than just what we can see. Karen Miller was found dead in her cell. Just gone. Heart attack, the official report said, but the details, that's where it gets creepy. The way she was found, scratches, deep, raw scratches all over her arms, like she'd been fighting something invisible, nails broken right down, like she'd been clawing at the concrete walls in pure terror. Eyes wide open, staring straight up at the ceiling, frozen in a look of absolute horror. The prison nurse, a woman who'd seen her share of things, said Karen had been complaining for weeks leading up to it, whispering, terrified, about a woman with long black hair standing at the foot of her bed. Said this woman just stood there, silent, never blinked, Didn't move a muscle. Didn't speak, just stared. Gave the poor nurse the chills. They all laughed it off at the time, called it stress, the guilt finally eating away at her. But now they're not so sure, not after everything else. Rick found out about Karen's death through the prison grapevine. You'd think he'd have some kind of reaction, right? Break down, maybe even show a flicker of remorse. Cry for his dead wife, even if she was a terrible person. Get angry at the world. Something, but nah, not Rick. He just smiled, a slow, chilling smile that didn't reach his dead eyes. Then he whispered, so quiet you could barely hear it past the clanging of the prison doors. She found her, too, sent a shiver down the spine of the guard who overheard it. Detective Claire Mitchell finally retired 2 years later. But that case? It clung to her like a bad dream. She told a friend over a couple of stiff drinks one rainy afternoon. There's something off about that case. We put the people in jail, yeah, but the evil, whatever it is, I don't think it stayed behind bars. She looked troubled, like she knew something everyone else was missing. Mike Davis died last winter. Just dropped dead of a heart attack. All alone in that small apartment above the garage in Joliet. Sad and quiet end. No family left to bury him, just him and his ghosts. But guess what was found in his dusty, cluttered garage when the landlord finally went in to clear things out? A whole damn wall covered in photos. All of Sarah. Photos she never posed for. Snapshots taken when she didn't know she was being watched. Photos that seemed recent. Some of them looked like they were taken just weeks, maybe even days, before Mike died. One photo. That one sticks in your head. It was of her, standing right in his hallway, looking straight into the camera, like she knew it was there. Only problem, that photo had to have been taken just 3 days before he died, in a house with no visitors, no cameras that anyone could find, just Mike, and apparently her. Some people in Chicago still whisper about Sarah Evans. Say her spirit never left this world, that it didn't move on, that it stuck here in the shadows, with the people who hurt her. But me? I got a different feeling about it. I think she made a choice, to stay, to haunt, to punish. And if you ever end up in Chicago, especially on a cold, quiet night, you might just see her too. Just don't look too long, or she might think you were part of it. You've been listening to Echoes of Evil, where the worst horrors aren't just in stories, they're in choices, in people, in the past that never really dies. Lock your doors tight tonight. Turn off all the lights, and if you hear a voice whisper your name when you're all alone,